Manifestation is instant. It is happening right now. And in this video, I am going to prove it to you beyond a shadow of a doubt, beyond belief, that manifestation happens instantaneously. And you know that when you first come into conscious creation. And I call it beginner's luck, right? It's beginner's luck for a reason. And the reason why I believe that, we have beginner's luck is because we don't really have any ideas around what conscious creation is, right? We hear about it. When we first hear about it, or at least for me, right, when I first heard about conscious creation, it was in 2020. I was in sober living. I had just left rehab in Florida. I moved to Denver to go get in sober living, and I was ready to like drastically change my life, right? Because it's like I'm clean, I'm sober minded, and I was ready for a change. And I was I watched The Secret. That was like what I first watched. I watched The Secret, and I was like, okay, there's something here. And it made me come across, like, just being in the algorithm, Neville Goddard. And when you just hear somebody, you hear their story, you hear their message, and immediately it clicks? That's how it was with Neville Goddard. I heard his story, and there was one particular story he told where I, I'm going to paraphrase, but pretty much he had a dream, and he was like aware in the dream. He was lucid in the dream. And he told the ladies at a party that he was lucid. He's like, hey, I'm lucid and I'm dreaming. And they pretty much kind of like shunned him. And when I heard that story, I said, oh my God, I don't care what this man is saying. I'm going to believe him, and I'm going to apply, and I'm going to listen to him every single day for the rest of my life. Because just a few months prior to me hearing that particular video on YouTube, I had a dream when I was in rehab. Actually, I was in Florida, and I went to sleep. And this was an interesting dream because it was like an inception type of dream. So I remember I had woke up in the dream, and I thought I was in my room. I thought I had like woke up, So then I started moving around, and I saw something that triggered to me, that signaled to me that like, oh, I'm not actually awake. I'm still dreaming. So I started flipping out. I'm like, wait a minute. No, this is still a dream. I want to get back to my body. So I, like, usually when that happens, when I become lucid in a dream, I start freaking out. I was freaking out, and I was like, I want to get back to my body. I want to get back to my body. I'm like, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. So I wake up, and then I'm like, okay, that was a dream. I'm good. I'm here now. Everything is where it's supposed to be. So I get up. I go throughout my experience, and I see it was this tech there at the rehab that I was at. It was this tech, and I saw her. I think her name was Rochelle. I don't remember exactly what her name was. It starts with an R. I don't remember, but I saw her, and again, something got triggered to me that I was dreaming, like that I didn't actually wake up. I was still in the dream, and instead of freaking out, I was like, I told myself, I said, don't freak out, don't freak out. And it was like a whole bunch of other events that went on. But eventually I got to this point where I did not freak out, and I was able to ground myself and know that I was dreaming. And I was like, okay, you're dreaming, enjoy it. Like don't freak out. Go enjoy the fact that you're dreaming. So I went up to the tech and I said, hey, Rochelle. And it's interesting because in real life, me and her, we did not get along. But in the dream, I ran up to her and I was trying to hug her. And I was like, Rochelle, I'm dreaming, I'm dreaming. And she was like, she kind of like shoved me. She was like, why are you trying to touch me? Because it's like, in real life, we did not get along. But I was like, but I'm dreaming, I know I'm dreaming. And she's like, what is wrong with you? So I tried to tell somebody else who was walking past. I was like, hey, I'm dreaming, I'm dreaming. And they were like, and they pretty much was like, what's wrong with you? So when I heard Neville explain his story, I said, oh my God, that happened to me. And then he started telling me about how imagination creates reality. And, like we are living inside of a waking dream. And I believed him. I believed him because I had experienced what he had experienced with the dream. So I believed him. And I took everything he said as law, right? I began to practice my imagination. I began to go to sleep every night in the wish fulfilled, because at this point, like I said, I was in sober living, and I wanted to, these are like my top 3 manifestations. I wanted to get $5,000. I wanted to get my own apartment, and I wanted a new car. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Or I wanted to, like, I don't remember what the third one was, but I remember those 2 for sure. So it was so many other moving pieces at this point without making this video too long. But there were so many other moving pieces. And I just remember I was saying, for sure, I wanted $5,000. I wanted $5,000, and I wanted to get my own apartment because I did not want to be in that sober living anymore. And at this point, I had just, because I was like in addiction, not caring about anything but getting high and partying, my credit was messed up. My finances were in the trash. Right before I went to rehab, like a couple years before, I was in a relationship, in an abusive relationship we were both abusive. I'm not a victim, but we were very much both abusive to each other. So I had got evicted. I had got evicted. So I had an eviction on my record. My finances were in the trash. I went out there with really no job. I started working at this point. When I came across Neville, I was working as a like cafeteria lady in this like private school. But I wasn't making much, right? I wasn't even working. I wasn't working 40 hours a week. I was making like, I want to say like $15 an hour. But I was like, I'm going to listen to Neville, and I'm going to take what he's saying as law, because there's something there. Like, the more I would hear his stories, the more I could hear myself in his stories. The more he would describe experiences that I could never talk about with anybody else, but he described my experiences to a T. So it made me, I'm going to believe whatever he says, right? So I applied, and when I tell you within 2 months, I had the money. This guy that I went to rehab with, we never had anything like a romantic connection or anything, but around my birthday is November 10th, it's coming up, but around my birthday, he asked me, he said, what do you want for your birthday? And I remember I asked my best friend, I said, this guy asked me what I want for my birthday. Like, ah. And she was like, tell him $5,000, because she was a part of it too. I was telling her what was going on and what I was learning. She was like, tell him $5,000. So I was like, $5,000. And he said, okay. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? So anyways, he ended up giving me the money. I paid off my eviction. I paid off a lot of debt that I had. And I was able to like pay for my first month, my security deposit. I was able to buy stuff for my apartment, right? I got approved for an apartment. A lot of people had denied me at first because I had the eviction, but this one place ended up approving me, and that was the place that I stayed in, that I was in last time. They ended up approving me, and I had the apartment. I had the money. I think the last thing was like I wanted to be a full-time creative, and that ended up happening too. But it was like, it happened so fast that I was in disbelief. I was in such disbelief that this stuff works, like conscious creation works. And it was like instant. It really felt like it was instant. But then after that, so that was in 2020, 2021. I don't remember exact years, but I know that until I had my daughter in May of 2024, I struggled with conscious creation. Let me know down below if you experienced that beginner's luck where you felt like it was a fluke because your life started changing so rapidly when you first got into conscious creation that you just felt like this has to be a fluke. Because for the next 3 or 4 years after that, I just would hit block after block after block, and I did not understand what I was doing wrong. I kept trying to recreate what I did the first time when my manifestations were just flying off the wall, where conscious creation seemed so effortless, and I just could not figure out what it was until I did. And I know that I did because it continues to work over and over again. So like the first time when I learned about conscious creation and things started happening rapidly, I thought it was a fluke, right? Beginner's luck, it's a fluke. And it's not mastery until you can do it again and again and again. And now I feel like I am mastering, right? I won't say I'm a master, right? But I am mastering conscious creation because I realize that it is instant. And I'm gonna show you how it is instant. I'm gonna show you what it took me years of falling on my head after that first sprint of having everything go my way to running against block after block. I'm gonna show you what I've discovered and what you can now see, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you see how instant manifestation is, you will not be able to unsee it, and that's just been my experience. And anytime that I start to get in my own way, it doesn't take me years like it took me the first time. It's just like a very simple remembering. Oh, manifestation is instant. And then and then it starts to be instant, right? So before I explain to you how, and before I give you the shift to where once you see it, you will not unsee it, I'm going to tell you another story. I'm going to tell you my story, and then I'm going to tell you one of my client stories. Let me pull my microphone up just a little bit. I'm going to tell you one of my stories, and I'm going to tell you one of my client stories. And I want you to figure out what I'm going to tell you, right? I want you to put the pieces together yourself, and then let me know in the comments once you capture it by what I mean when I say manifestation is instant. And also, before we go any deeper, I should have said this earlier because we're already 11 minutes in, but I am running a challenge, 21-day experiment, the Ease Experiment Challenge, 21 days, $21. And it's all about the experiment of allowing it to happen for you, to surrendering, to receiving what it is that you desire, getting everything by doing nothing. So if you downloaded my self-inquiry guide, you are going to love this hand-on coaching experience with me, you, and however many others sign up. My goal is like 500 people. I want 500 people to be able to sign up and tap into this Ease experiment, to go on an experiment to see how easy it can be to get your desires. So if you are interested in that, check out the link below. We start November 10th, which is my birthday. We start November 10th. It's the 21-day Ease experiment. Okay, it's 3 live calls. We have 1 call a week, and then you also will be getting daily audio transmissions, and you'll also be a part of a group where you have people to go on this experiment with, right? So many cool things, so many prizes, all the good stuff. So check out the link below. You'll find out more information. Now, back to the story. So my hair is flying. I don't even like, you feel me? It's just like whatever. I keep trying to put it down, but it just wants to do its own thing. Let me try to fix it a little bit. As y'all see, it's not windy today, so I don't got to worry about the angle. The sun is not super shiny today, but that's okay. I feel like the lighting is good. I'm not complaining. You see, I'm not complaining today, y'all. Also, thank you so much for 10K subscribers. I feel so blessed. I feel so just grateful because the little girl in me wanted this so bad. Like, wanted this so bad. She's been wanting this since she was in 6th grade, and she made her first video. Dare I put it in? Singing to Demi Lovato's Skyscrapers, right? Or dancing to Single Ladies. Dare I put those videos in? But just always wanted to be seen and express myself, and the fact that I have a community that allows me to do that, I am just so thankful and grateful, and thank you guys for 10K. Now let's get right into the video. Well, we're already into it, but let's get into the story, and I want you guys to pinpoint where you think I'm going to go with when I say that manifestation is instant based on these stories that I tell you. So, like I said, for years I was banging my head against the wall when it came to this. And I kept trying to recreate what it is that I did. And that's why beginner's luck is a thing, is because you don't know how it's going to turn out. And there's beauty in that, because you're not like micromanaging the unfolding of your desire, right? Because you don't know, and there's like this giddy, like little kid expectancy, and it's like, ooh, how is it going to turn out? Ooh, what is it going to look like? Whereas once you see it happen, I would say I had like 4 or 5 big manifestations happen back to back to back, that I started to see like a pattern. So I started to want to recreate that pattern to have my manifestations come in like that. And that was the issue, is because it's like, oh, I think I know what's supposed to happen. And if it's not happening in this way, then that means it's not happening, right? I kept getting in my own way for years until I had my daughter. Until I was pregnant with my daughter. I was pregnant with my daughter. This was in, I want to say like March 2024. I was about 8 months pregnant. And I was tired. I was looking at my life. I was a server at IHOP. I thought at that time I would have been a full-time creative. I thought at that time I would have been a full-time businesswoman. I would have been living life on my own terms. Yet I looked at my life. I was single, 8 months pregnant, a server at IHOP. And I was miserable. I was downright miserable. And I thought, how is it that... These bugs keep flying in my eyes, in my face. But I thought, how is it that I'm in this space again? How is it that I am here, right? Because I had been pregnant previously. I had a son. He passed away at 12 weeks. This is baby Zane. which is kind of what led into the whole addiction phase. But I just said, how is it that I am here again? Oh my God, this bug is like, won't leave me alone, Jesus Christ. But I said, how is it that I'm here again? Pregnant, because I was single and pregnant when I had my son. And here I am again in this same situation after all these years of self-development, after everything that I know about conscious creation. And it's like, as much as I wanted to say it was a fluke, there were still things that were happening within those years, like, minor, not minor, but like things that I felt like it wasn't like life-changing though, but I could still see the workings of my inner world and how connected it was to what I was experiencing. But it was just this strong attachment to the identity of Taylor, of the separate self, right? So anyways, I said, here we go. And I said, you know what? I'm not doing this. I have a daughter coming into this world. I am going to make my dreams a reality. I am going to give this manifestation thing everything that I got. And if it doesn't work, then at least I said I tried. At least I said that I gave it my all. Because I feel like another thing is that I got so comfortable with my life that it didn't lead me to this point where it was like kind of do or die. And you don't have to get to that point. You don't have to get to the point where it's do or die. But that's where I was, right? Because it was like, I knew I wasn't going back to IHOP. I remember I was on a walk and I said, God, I don't know what, I don't know how. I don't know what and I don't know how, but I trust you. I trust you. I am going to give my all to believing that it's going to work out for me. I don't care what happens. I have nothing to lose. I have nothing to lose. And that began it. I began like meditating. Sorry, this bug is like pissing me off. Jesus Christ. It just won't leave me alone. But I began meditating and like visualizing and scripting. And I'm doing all these things. And guess what? It came in. Because I told myself at that time when I was pregnant with my daughter, I said, I'm not going back to IHOP. I refuse to clock into another person's job. I refuse. And I don't know how, but I also don't want to put my daughter in daycare. I was so gung-ho about not putting her in daycare. Baby, now she in daycare. Let me tell you, I should have did it earlier. But I was so gung-ho on not putting my daughter in daycare. I said, I'm not putting her in daycare. I want to raise her, which I did for the first 16 months of her life. I was a stay-at-home mom. And I said, I'm not going to put her in daycare. I'm going to raise her. And I'm not clocking into nobody else's job. I don't know how. Because at this point, like I said, I was single. Me and her dad were not even on talking terms. But that wasn't my business. I didn't know how. I said, maybe I'll get like a work from home job, right? I just knew I didn't want to physically clock into nobody else's job. So I said, maybe I'll just get a work from home job. I don't know. But every single time the trying to figure out how would come up, I would just go, none of my business, that's none of my business. None of my business, that's none of my business. It wasn't my business. I just kept telling myself that's not my business. That's not my business. I am in the end. I am in the wish fulfilled. That is not my business, right? And I became so in love. Like I fell so deeply in love with where I was, where for months being pregnant and like then I got broken up with and I'm going to appointments on my own and everybody telling me my boyfriend's a deadbeat, I'm gonna have to do this. My mom's like, you should come back home, and I knew I didn't want to go back to Chicago. And all these things were happening and I was miserable and I was suffering for months. And I'm hormonal, I'm feeling everything. So all of a sudden I switched it up and I fell so deeply in love with my life. I started like dressing up all the time. I started doing my makeup. I started like recording on a secret YouTube channel because I didn't want to come back to my old channels. And I was like, I wanted to create content like that was always there. So I would like record on a secret channel and I was like making vlogs and I was doing get ready with me's and I was like creating art, taking myself on dates. I remember I was so pregnant I had took myself to the art museum. Maybe I have footage, but I took myself to the art museum in Denver and my feet were hurting so bad because I was so big. I was like about to pop. I was going on walks every day. I was like I was so in love with my life and where I was. And at this point I also became like so in love with my partner again. Even though he was treating me the way that he was treating me, I still, because I was so in love with life in general, like he is life, right? He is a part of that life that I am in love with. So I would just see him through these eyes of love and appreciation. And of course he changed, and of course reality changed, and he came into our lives again once my daughter was about 2 months pregnant. Once my daughter was about 2 or 3 months, he came in and he said, I want to come in and I'm gonna pay the bills. You don't have to go to work anymore. He's like, you don't have to find a job. I'll pay the bills. I'll take care of you. You just take care of Samaya and you focus on your content, right? So I started to like create content, and then my YouTube started to pop off, and I was like making money from YouTube, and I was like, oh my God, I got a YouTube check. Like that was like the best day in the world for me. And then like I started to like work on my business, and everything was just working out. Everything that I wanted, it just came in, and it was instant, right? It was instantaneous. It was so instant. So I started taking on clients because people were like, I just put a link in my bio, and I was like, because for a long time I did not want to coach anybody because I was like, it's too much energy. I didn't want to do it. But then, just based on the space that I was in, I had the capacity. My cup was overflowing that I wanted to pour into others. So I started coaching, right? I was doing coaching calls, and shout out to my client MJ, because MJ was my first long-term client. Because at first I was doing like one-off calls where I would do 4 weeks. Me and MJ worked together for 3 months, and that was my story. Where do you think the instant manifestation came in? Where do you think it came in? So now I'm going to tell MJ's story. So me and MJ, we worked together for 3 months. When we first started working together, I always asked my clients, what is it that you're calling in? What do you want to call in? And she said she wanted to she wanted to finish her EP because she had a mixtape, 333, listen, string 333, 333 out now, 333 out now. Shout out Trouble, that's my favorite song. and Azure, I love Azure. I just love that whole EP, but string 333 by MJ Parker. So anyways, she wanted to finish her EP. She wanted to move out because at this time she was staying with her mom. She wanted to move out, and she wanted to just like take deeper care of like herself, like self-love. I'm pretty sure it was something along those lines. When I tell you we did everything in those 3 months, and it wasn't about the action. It wasn't about the action. So when she first came to me, she said, I want to get my own place. But then she had like all these limited beliefs that she was like telling me, and I was spotting them out. And then I just said, okay, you have it. You have it now. Give it to yourself now. And MJ was very open. I will say that she was very receptive, and like you, I'm sure you are, where like you hear these things and you're very receptive and very open, and you know that this stuff works. So I would say she did not have a lot of resistance too, which is why things happen for her so quickly. Because I've had clients where it didn't happen as fast, but they were able to get their desires instantly once they saw it. I would say MJ was like very receptive, and she just accepted it. She said, okay, I have it. And when I tell you, when she came to me at first, she didn't even know if she wanted to get like a 1-bedroom apartment. She was like, I don't really know what's going to be comfortable for me and my pockets and da-da-da. And then she got a 2-bedroom luxury townhome. 2-bedroom luxury townhome that had happened to just open in the complex that she was working at. She went to go view the 1-bedroom, and she was like, it didn't feel like it was her place. She was like, I saw my place. That wasn't it. And then it opened. Synchronistic. Just opened. Oh, here's a 2-bedroom. She went to see. She said, oh, this is mine. This is it. This is the place. And then she moved in, I think a month later. And then a month later, she released her EP. After having all these she was struggling with the perfectionism of it, and like, oh, I don't know if it's ready. And she had been sitting on it for a while. And but you are an artist now. Claim it. You have your desire now. Just claim it. It's yours. You're right. It's mine. And then everything that she would fret over, she started to like get in synchronistic meetings with people. Right, the right people would show up at the right time. And then she released her EP. It was just so instantaneous because she just accepted it. She just accepted it. I would tell her, you have it now. And she would say, right. And of course, blocks came up, and we worked with like a lot of emotional blocks that keep us from, because I have a feeling for you may not have the trouble with calling it in. It may be the sustaining it, right? So we worked on the emotional blocks around like the sustaining it. But the getting it, the calling it in, to seeing how instant it is, happened so effortlessly. She started listening to music. She would be, because she makes high vibrational music. She would be listening to her music on her way to work, knowing that what she wants is already hers. She was so in love with her life, so in love with the experience. So, if you already commented down below, cool. What do you think it is? What do I mean by a manifestation is instant? If not, I'll give you some time to comment and then I'll tell you, because we're already at 26 minutes. I don't want this to be, let's say, nothing longer than 40 minutes. Because I am going to go into a teaching. I'm going to go into a teaching around what I mean by a manifestation is instantaneous. It's instant. It's instant. And once you see this, you will not be able to unsee it. How instant it is. So what was the common thread? The common thread was that we no longer was fighting with our experience. That's it. That's it. We just no longer fought the experience as it is. We fell in love with what is. We fell in love. We didn't need reality to change in order for us to have changed internally. We just fell in love with what is. We didn't need to take action. And for so long, I thought it was what I did. So even when like I was pregnant with my daughter and I was like, oh, I was meditating and I was scripting and I was doing and I was visualizing. That's not what got me my desire. What got me my desire was that I stopped fighting and I just accepted that I had it. And when I accepted that I had it, those were the actions of my character in that state. So it looked like me visualizing, it looked like me scripting, it looked like me doing those things. But when I tell you it didn't feel forced. It didn't feel like, oh, I need to do this in order to get my desire. It just felt like this is my behavior. Like this is what I do. So then my logical mind, my mind that wants to put everything together and make sense of everything, it said, oh, because I was doing this is why I got it. And I thought that for so long. So like when I first had the experience of manifestation when things were happening so fast, right? And I thought it was because of my actions. I thought it was because I was visualizing every night. I thought it was because things were happening for me. So that's why I thought, that is why I believed I got the desire, when really it was because I had just fell so in love with life. I had just fell so in love with my life and with my experience, and just I was like a little kid. I was just curious. Like it was just like this curiosity that I had to, well, what is going to turn out? That is what created everything to happen so fast. And that is what happened again when I decided that like I have nothing to lose. I have nothing to lose. I don't want my daughter to see me fighting with life anymore. I'm just going to surrender and give it all up. So I surrendered. I accepted what is. I got this curiosity about life, this playfulness about my experience, and it was the state. I accepted the state. And that is why it's instant, because as soon as you accept the state of your desire, it happens. That's it. You need to do nothing else but accept the state. I actually wrote a newsletter about it. It's on my Substack. The link to my Substack is going to be down below. But I wrote a newsletter about the experience as well. I mean, about how like it's not about what you're doing that's going to put you in the state. It's just about placing your attention and your awareness in the reality where the character is already doing the things. I talked about like an infinite hall of mirrors. And I was like, imagine there's like an infinite hall of mirrors. Like you know those wacky shops you go to? Not wacky shops, but those like illusion shops, whatever, museums you go to. And it's like you go into these mirrors, and like every mirror you go in, it's you, but it's appearing differently. Now imagine you're in this, like there's infinite mirrors, up and down, up and down. And every time you look in a mirror, you see a version of you. And she's like different. And it's like little things too. It's like in one version, she's smiling. In one version, she's frowning. In one version, she takes a left turn or she takes a right turn. But all of these lead to different outcomes. And that is what you're doing when you just accept your reality. It's not about you taking the action to get there. You're just placing your awareness on a version, on an already completed picture, on an already completed state. You know, Neville says we don't need to add anything to the state. We just need to accept the state. So you're placing your awareness on the state where it's already complete. It doesn't need your thoughts. It doesn't need you to do anything. because the character is already doing it. You got to stop believing that you are the character. See very clearly that you are not the character. You are aware of the character. You know the character. You are just the knowing of the character. See that. And then you can just become aware of the version of reality where your desire is complete and where your character is seemingly taking actions that is getting them their desire. But like, no, you're just in the state. And this is how it plays out to the logical mind that wants to make sense out of everything. It's about to rain. I need to wrap this up. So yeah, it's really that simple, and it's instant. It's instant. Claim it. Just claim it right now. What is it that you want? Claim it. And then from there, see that all thoughts are automatic. You are not thinking thoughts, you are receiving them, and they're very automatic. So even right now, let's just do a small experiment because it's raining and I'm about to go. But just give me 10 seconds. Don't think one single thought. Just 10 seconds. Were you able to do it? Or did you just notice that thoughts were coming in automatically? Look around. Look around you right now. Look around your room or wherever you are, and don't label or don't think a thought. Keep your mind clear. Just look around and don't label anything. What did you notice? You couldn't do it, could you? Because it's not you. It's an automation. It's like a tape recorder. It's just feeding you back information that you picked up on. So when you see that, and you really see it, you'll see that any thought that claims that you're not in your desire is just like a cloud in the sky. It's coming and it's going. It's floating. It's automatic. It's not you. And it has no weight over whether or not you have your desire now. So just claim it. Once you claim it, you have it. And just watch any thought that claims otherwise, because they're just automatic. They're not you. This is where self-inquiry comes in. I have a 7-day self-inquiry guide, a free guide, how to tap into overflow by getting everything by doing nothing. Check that out down below. And also check out the 21-day experiment, the easy experiment, how you can get everything by doing nothing. And I'm going to coach you through it. 21 days, $21. Check that out. You have it. I'm telling you, and when you see it, that's what I said, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Because since that day, since I made that decision and I started to like really watch my mind, and I started to notice that like, oh, it's just the thoughts that are telling me that I don't have it. Anytime I start to get tangled up in like forgetting that manifestation is instant, I just begin to remain as I am and notice that I am simply aware of thoughts that say I don't have it. As soon as I recognize that all thoughts are automatic and I'm just aware of thoughts that say I don't have it, then I have it. I have it. And I don't need reality to show me the physical proof right there and then that I have it. I know that reality is just a reflection of my internal state. So when I say I have it, I have it. Okay, the rain is getting on me, y'all. It's coming. It's coming down. Actually, let's walk. We're gonna walk to the elevator. Oh no. It's raining, it's pouring, the old man is snoring. Even where you guys see me at now, all of this was a manifestation. I created all of this. Well, and I didn't do anything. All I did was just keep my attention on the fact that I am observing this. I am not aware of, I am just simply the awareness. I am observing this, right? So, I have so many stories to tell you guys about me and my clients and just how we were able to consciously create our lives by getting out of the way, by surrendering, by allowing it. And if you joined the 21-day experiment, easy experiment, you'll get all the stories. You'll get all the pointers to just keep you to remember, because it's one thing to hear this one time and go, okay, yes, I hear you, it's instant, it's here now, and you know, and then you go, after this video, you go back out and you start trying to make it happen. And I'm telling you to stop, to leave that alone. There's a version of you who's already doing all the things she needs to do. You need to place your attention there and persist in keeping your attention there, and fall in love with it all. Because, I'll end here, I'll end here. But you fall in love with it all because you realize that what you have is actually everything that you wanted. The true you as awareness, you as consciousness, you are God. You don't necessarily have preferences. It's the individual that has preferences. But you as God, you don't have preferences. You are just so in love with the experience itself because it's all you. You love the contrast because the contrast lets you experience like the differences in textures and sensations and colors and shapes. So there's no part of this experience that you do not love as God, as I am. It's just the thought that says, but I don't like this, and I like this, and I don't like this. And when you take yourself to be the thought, that's when you suffer. But when you just take it to be like a paintbrush that you are using to, or like you know, in Play-Doh, when you have Play-Doh and you use like those cutout things to create different shapes, that's what your thoughts are. Everything is, just imagine everything is Play-Doh. I heard this example somewhere, I don't remember who, so sorry if I don't give credit, but imagine everything is Play-Doh and you have these like little cutout things. Those are what your thoughts are. They're not to be taken seriously, they're just to be used to playfully mold the experience. But you like take them so serious and you go, I don't like this, I like this, I don't like this. And like, that's what creates your suffering, and that's what keeps you out of the vibration of knowing that what you see is what you want. What you see in front of you is actually everything that you want. And when you can truly accept that and feel that and like go like, wow, I am in my desire now. I have it now because what I see is what I want. Then guess what? You vibrate higher. You're in this vibration of like gratitude and wholeness and love, and then you become a magnet to the things that you want. So you don't have to go out there and make it happen. You just become a magnet to it. So see very clearly that you have what you want. The way your reality is now is exactly the way you wanted it. And any thought that says otherwise, just notice how automatic it is. It's not the truth. Having is evidence of wanting. You have it because on some level, even if you're not conscious of it, you wanted it. So you might as well enjoy it. Even the pain and the sadness and the grief, you as consciousness, you love that shit. You didn't just want to feel the good, because if you only felt that, you wouldn't even know what good is. You like the contrast of bad so you can know what good is. You've just been under the control of it for a very long time, confusing yourself with the separate identity. But from the perspective of the all, of being I am, of being the knower of awareness, you recognize that it's all you, and it's all love and fulfillment and joy, and you wouldn't want it to be any other way. And from that state, everything magnetizes from you, but just recognizes that it makes the manifestation instant. What you want, instant. You want $1 million? Give it to yourself now. Claim it. You have $1 million. It's instant. You have it. You want $1 million? Give it to yourself now. Okay? And if a thought comes up and says, but I don't, but can you see that that's just a thought? It has nothing to do with your experience. If you just look at your experience right now without a thought, what would confirm to you that you don't have $1 million? Seriously, like look at your experience. What would confirm to you or convince you that you don't have $1 million right now but your thought? And if a thought says, because the way that I'm living, because I'm not living like a millionaire, that's still a thought. That's still a story. If you picking up what I'm putting down, I'm telling you, you're never going to be able to unsee this. You have it now. You have what you want now. And that's it. Just persist in that. And I love you. And that's all I got. I said 40 minutes. Okay. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.